Well, let's get started. We're going to jump into questions. The first one, we're going to start talking about attaining top talent. So this question I'm going to read, and it's going to go to Lissa first, and then Caroline, you can jump in, and Anna and Nicole, if you have comments, please feel free. So companies of any size today have some sort of DE&I initiative. That's diversity, equity, and inclusion. To ignore that would be sticking your head in the sand. How do you balance attracting a diverse slate of candidates and still hire the most qualified person?
Is such a good question. And it's interesting for us as an organization because we do that for other companies, but we also have to do it well for ourselves. I think it is important for us to make sure that we are crafting job descriptions, going to all of the different places that are available to us to attract as many people as possible. But and to the sticking your head in the sand part of that, if you want to work with a company and they have, I don't want to call them quote, they have initiatives around DE&I, like we've heard in so many of the sessions yesterday, people look to common cultures. So if you want to work with companies that have those type of initiatives, you need to be able to show that you do as well. Making the opportunity available to anyone and going to the places. For example, we have a huge veterans initiative. We actively seek out veterans as a population because we want them to be part of the company, but you've got to be intentional about it. All of that said, you put your slate together, you find the best people you can. At the end of the day, you have to hire the most qualified person. And I think if you don't do that, you jeopardize your culture. You also jeopardize your results potentially. But I think it sends a message that working hard, doing the job well, those are still the things that should be rewarded and that you should earn the job.
Yeah, excellent. And we will talk a little bit later in another question about what are actionable things we can do or companies can do to actually increase the pool so that those choices are, so you have a vast amount of choices when you're looking for that correct candidate. Caroline?
I appreciate the perspective, Lissa, that you had, on some specific initiatives. When I was considering this, I was thinking of it even on like a day-to-day perspective. As a side note, I would say our organization, we are incredibly diverse. So, and especially within my business unit in Detroit, where we have an equal split between men and women from a sales perspective, but we also have individuals from multiple countries, and we recruit around the world. So my team, we've got people from France, from Mexico, from India, we've had some from Italy, so kind of all around the world, which brings that diversity. What I've found in having that type of cultural and gender diversity, it makes it a lot easier and less apparent when someone is different. And maybe when I'm interviewing somebody who's different from me, because I'm around it so much that it becomes less noticeable. So I think the more that we do it, the more we create diversity in our organizations, the more comfortable we are with it, the less that unconscious bias even comes into play. The one thing, though, that I like doing when I'm considering a specific candidate is I might pick, let's say, my arch nemesis to do an interview as well. Because if I have general conflict with somebody within my organization, that means we're different from one another. And what a great way to have my polar opposite interview somebody to see what do they see in that candidate, because they're going to pick up something very different than I do.
Yeah, that's a great point. It gives you a holistic view of the candidate, if you can do something like that. Nicole or Anna, any comments?
Yeah, I think when I take a look at how we qualify candidates, and my personal perspective is, it really comes down to how do you qualify them, right? So it is the skills, obviously the experience, but what is the diverse perspective that person is bringing to the team, right? How are they going to add and contribute from just their personal life experiences, where they've been, what they've done? How can they contribute something new and different to the team. And so I'm always looking at that as well as looking at the skills and the experience. I think that that's critically important.
Yeah, and the attitude is one of the most important things.
Yes.
I think that we should to employ people who has that attitude.
Thank you for watching this highlight video from the Sandler Summit. You can join us for the next Sandler Summit in 2024, March 19th and 20th at the Orlando World Center Marriott. Register now at sandler.com/summit.